Hello, my name's Steve Mace from Solwise, and I'd just like to present a quick introductory video to a couple of new products from Zygma7. These are the FeaturaN2 and the FighterN2. Both these products are outdoor 2.4 gig 11N bridging access point units. They use the single stream 150 meg maximum backbone 11N specification, operating at 20 or 40 meg wide channel spacing. Now, the difference between the two products is essentially the antenna connection. The FeaturaN2, as you can see from this picture here, actually has an N plug on the top, so you can directly connect your antenna to the top. And the FighterN2, very similar product, same hardware inside, except it actually has an SMA connector under a flap, or reverse SMA connector, sorry, under the flap at the back of the unit. Apart from that, they're the same unit. So, if we go into the setup and have a look at the web interface of one of these products, I've got a FeaturaN2 actually connected to our network. It's on its default IP address, which is 192.168.1.1. Enter. And the default entry username password is admin and password. Enter. So this is the sort of screen it's going to come up with the first time you see it. Usual system information stuff about MAC addresses and LAN settings and the default wireless mode and all that sort of stuff. And as you can see, this particular unit out of the box has got the country set to the United States. We'll quickly go through some of the screens on this unit. You've got a system which enables you to first of all decide whether you want it to be in a bridge or router mode. In router mode, the wireless interface forms the WAN interface, and the LAN is the internal interface. So that might be good for wireless ISPs that want to have each site connecting as a router with its own private subnet range to the main network. As you see, you can got the country mode here as well. So for example, we can just set that to United Kingdom. Apply that. Right, so that's set to UK. Now we can look at the IP settings. You've got two sets of IP settings, whether you've got it in bridge mode, which is wireless and LAN connected, or whether in router mode, which is wireless and LAN separated. So if we look at the bridge settings, usual thing, all you want to do is set the IP address, etc. For this particular unit, because I'm later on going to have two units on the network, I'll just change this address of this one to 1.200 and apply, and just wait for it to boot back up again. Nice thing about these products is they've got a quick reboot. Some of these outdoor devices or access point devices can take an absolute age booting up, but this product's not too bad. It's quite quick, and it's automatically relogged us back in again on 1.200. Re-enter the username and password. No, I don't want to remember it. So now we'll set United Kingdom. So we'll go back to those settings. Other things you've got, for example, are NTP server settings, and if you've got it in router mode, you've got things like various very complicated that I don't even pretend to understand firewall settings, which you can play around with. Now let's look at the wireless settings. So under the most basic settings, you've got the standard modes. You've got wireless client. With wireless client, the end user becomes a client which connects to the AP based upon the SSID of the network. You've got bridge setup. Bridge setup, I suppose, should technically be called bridge WDS setup, because what that is that puts it into a WDS mode, but operating as a bridge. And the key thing about, of course, about WDS mode is the connectivity between the AP and the bridge is based upon the MAC address of the opposite party. So the SSID doesn't matter at all. So if you set it in bridge mode, for example, you would give this the MAC address of the opposing access point, and then you would give the access point at the other end the MAC address of this bridge, and in that way they would link. You've also got AP repeater mode, which is APWDS as it happens. You'd use that for generic repeater mode, so you might have APWDS talking to APWDS as the repeaters. Or so you'd have to use APWDS if you wanted it to talk to a bridge in WDS mode. what else we got on here? Usual SSID, operating modes, whether you want BG and N or whether you just want BG, various parameters controlling 11N, channel mode, whether you want auto or manual, and also whether you want to use that built-in antenna or whether you want to use the external. And as I say, on the Featura product, the external is the N-type connector on the top. With the Fighter product, it's a reverse SMA on the bottom. You can also control output power, data rates, blah blah, and whether you wanted to use a 20 or 40 meg wide channel, etc. Now let's go look at some of the other settings we've got on here. You've got the usual security settings, WPA2 and radius and all that sort of stuff. Under advanced, on here you've got a whole pile of rather horrible 11N configuration settings. My advice is, if you don't know what you're doing, leave them alone, which is what I tend to do. But you've got all these sort of things that if you've watched any of my videos or read up on anything about 11N, some of these parameters should make sense to you. Key thing on this page that's probably of interest to most people is notice the maximum number of stations, can it be up to 32? And you've also got a space in meters set between the devices. This is so it can actually automatically adjust its timeout values for links. I'm going to be trying these across the office at the moment, so what I'll do is I'll set that to a sort of 3 or 4 meter type distance. Let's make it 5 meters. We'll do it from one side of the office to the other. And we'll click on apply. So that's now changed. Access control, this is usual restrictions by MAC address, and WDS settings. When we have it set in bridge WDS or AP WDS mode, these are important values to notice, and here's where you would put in the MAC address, for example, of the opposite AP or the opposite bridge. Under management, you've got the usual things about SNMP and password settings and firmware, etc. Under tools, you've got a log and you've got ping watchdog. So let's go back to this wireless settings. What I'm going to do now is just go through the simple process of setting up a link from an AP to initially a wireless client, just to show how easy this is. So this is going to be the user I'll set as the wireless client. And what I'm going to do is set this up as a wireless client and then disconnect it and then connect it to a notebook at the other end of the office. So we've got a wireless client. I'm not going to bother playing around with everything else, just leave everything else as default, just to show how easy it is to set this up. I'm going to leave the SSID default. I'm not going to bother upsetting things by playing around with security at this stage. So I'm going to apply that. Click OK. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to disconnect this unit and connect it to the notebook, and then reconnect a new unit. So I'll be back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Okay, that's done. Now I've got the second unit connected to the network. Again, log in. So this is the other unit, which I don't know if you've noticed, but if you're eagle eyes about it, you notice that the MAC address changed and we're back on the United States. So let's do a quick bit of settings. We're going to change it to United Kingdom. Now this is going to be access, start again. Leave this as bridge mode, click on apply. Click OK. Now I don't need to worry about the IP address, we'll leave that on the default as 1.1. Now we'll just go straight into wireless settings. This is going to be our access point on wireless, so don't actually need to change anything else on this page. If I go to advanced settings, if I wanted to, I could change that distance down to 5 meters. Though to be honest, for this quick simple test, it doesn't really matter very much. Click on apply for that, click on OK. So now hopefully these two ends are going to start connecting to each other. If I go to status and I click on connections, there we are. You see it's automatically found the other unit. Which was, if you remember the MAC address of the other unit was E518. And just to prove we've got a link here, I'm just going to drop into a DOS box and just ping the PC that's at the other end of the link. So 168.1.210. So there's a reply from the PC at the other end of this link. And what we could also do is, if I start a new tab, we can actually log into the other unit over the link. Remember, we changed the address to 1.200. I don't remember the password. So here we are. There's the 1.200, which is the remote unit. There's the 1.1, which is the local unit, and I say we've got that ping working in the background. So that's how really quick and easy it is to set up a pair of these just to produce a link from point to point. Now what we can do is I'm going to set these up in bridge to AP mode. So that's the one where, remember, the SSID is important, but we actually have to put the MAC addresses of the opposing unit into the WDS setup in order for them to link. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to swap these two units back again. So I'm going to bring the remote unit locally, and then we can go through and set that up in bridge mode. So I've just swapped these over, yet again, back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Okay, that's that done. So now the 1.200 unit, which was the remote unit, is now the local unit. And we'll just log into this one. Now we're logged in. So this is the one which at the moment is in wireless client mode. And what we're going to do now is we are just going to go to the wireless settings, and we're going to change this to bridge mode. And we're going to apply that. That saves that. Now, as I say, bridge in this for this product is actually a derivation of WDS. So what we have to do is now go into WDS settings, and we have to put in the MAC address of the opposing access point, which obviously I've written down. So it's 00:19. In fact, as you can see, I've cheated. I've written it in before. So that's the opposing access point. Click on Apply. Click on OK. So that's the bridge setup. So what we need to do now is swap this back again and go back into the access point, and this time set it up into WDS mode and enter the MAC address of the bridge unit. So yet again, just swap these over, back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Right, they're swapped over now. Now the bridge unit is now on the other side of the office, connected to the notebook. And the AP is back on the local LAN. Just log into it. So what we have to do is just quickly go into wireless. We have to change it to AP repeater, as I say, is actually a WDS mode. Click on Apply. That's that done. And now go into the WDS settings. That's it. And put in the MAC address of the opposing bridge unit, which is 190.70:7E. Now it's 18 is the opposing bridge unit. Click on Apply. Click on Done. So now what they should be doing is setting up a link between themselves. And there they are. So that's these two units now connected. So these are now connecting based upon the MAC address with some sort of bridge AP WDS connection. And just to prove it, do the usual story, drop into a DOS box and just ping the notebook at the other end of the lab. 2.168.1.210. There we are, pinging the computer at the other end of the office, and we can now view both units. So we just log into the remote unit across the link. So there's the remote unit across the link, saying it's connected. And there's, I don't know if you noticed, but that's 1.1. That's the local unit connected across the link. So as you can see, it's an absolute piece of doddle to set these units up. It really is not rocket science at all. I say other modes, if the other unit at the other end wanted to be a repeater, a true access point repeater, so that it would actually give, as well as LAN-based connectivity at the other end, it would give wireless client connectivity at the other end, then all you would do is, at the other point on the other unit, all you do is change its its wireless mode AP repeater, and the WDS settings, of course, have to be set up so that it has the opposing party. And that's it. There ain't much more to this product. It's nice and simple, and we think that the new Zygma7 products, including these two new ones here, the FeaturaN2 and the FighterN2, are a good addition with some nice new functions to our range of outdoor Wi-Fi units. Thanks very much.